All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Teacher Lady Speaks. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, every single week on the Teacher Lady Show, we have a different topic. And this week's topic is all about emotional regulation. We want our children to understand their emotions and how to manage them, okay? And of course, we're using picture books to be able to do so. Now, if you have not done so yet, be sure to check out the read aloud on this story first over on the Teacher Lady Reads playlist. But for this segment, we're going to be doing a behind the book review on The Rabbit Listened. So in this episode, we will be going over the glows, what I think was done well, the grows, what I think could have been done differently, who this book is for, and how do you utilize it as a resource to have a more robust conversation with your child. All in this episode of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. Summary in my own words. The Rabbit Listened is the story of Taylor, who had a very upsetting situation take place. And as a result, all of these people have advice on what Taylor should do. And Taylor does not want to follow that advice in the moment. And there's not much help for Taylor until the animal that comes along and just decides to listen to what Taylor has to say. No advice, no interrupting, no demanding that Taylor do something about it, just showing up. It's a warm reminder that sometimes the best thing you can do for the people that you love is be there. Take home message and target age group. I would say that the take-home message is that we should let people have and process their emotions. For me, especially talking about Emotional Regulation Week, it is important that we encourage our children to process their emotions and to show up for them as they're processing in a way that works for them, okay? I would really say the take-home message is that we should not assume that we have all the answers. We should let our child kind of come to the conclusions that they need to on their own while being a safe sounding board for them to be able to figure that out. In terms of target age group, it's definitely a younger book. I would say even 3 years old and up, they can start to understand the concept of who this book is for. I really feel like this book is for adults. I think so many adults try instantly to give advice to our children, and sometimes what that does is it stops their brain from processing what has happened. So if we tell you how to feel, if we tell you what emotions are appropriate for the situation, how are they ever going to explore and figure that out on their own when we're not around? Furthermore, we cannot tell a child what emotions they should have or should not have. That part is not on us. It's just on us to help them have the tools to be able to manage those emotions as they come, and most importantly, understand them. So I would say more than kids, this book is for the grown-ups. We need that. We need to understand that sometimes just being in close proximity is the best thing for what it is our child is going through. Glows, what I think was done well. It's a very heartfelt story. It's a really sweet aha moment. I know for me, as I was reading the book, I was thinking about how much I give Addie advice and how much when something happens, I'll listen, but then I'll respond. And instead just letting her have her space. Also normalizing, asking if people want advice. I definitely do that with adults more than I do my own daughter. And so I want to start to be more mindful of that as well, which is a glow because it gave me the insight that, again, sometimes just be quiet. Be quiet, or ask if they want to know what you would do in that situation, or even normalize asking people how they want you to show up for them. Like, you get that phone call and your friend is extremely upset before you go in about, I told you not to date them and you should have did this and this was the red flag. Before all of those things, what do you need from me? How do I show up for you? And I love that. I love normalizing that practice. And so many glows, especially around the reminder that we do not have all the answers for other people's lives. And sometimes being a support system means just showing up and allowing them to kind of guide us on where it is that they want us to go in order to be able to help them. Girls, I don't have any girls for this story. It is very well done. Discussion points to have with your child. I would have the discussion around how they feel most loved. How do you feel support? And what does support look like for you? Okay. So starting to understand your child better and what makes the most sense for them when they go through hard situations is going to be really valuable. Like I said earlier, one of the things this book did was make me intentionally have a conversation with my child around how to best show up for her. Like, it has put that on my radar. So it hasn't happened yet, but it will, because I do want to understand, hey, sometimes when you're upset, I recognize that I just kind of respond to what you're saying. And would it be more helpful for me to listen? Maybe not. Maybe she'll say, I like our girl talks, right? But to give your child that option is going to be really, really powerful. Final thoughts. I would say to remember that we are all humans trying to figure out how to manage and control our emotions. I think the goal for this week of emotional regulation is to not remove or discount or erase your child's feelings, but for your child to better understand their feelings so that they can manage them. Because just because you're angry, that doesn't justify hitting. Just because you're sad, it doesn't justify screaming in somebody's ear, or, that list kind of continues. We get to have our emotions while also being mindful of the people that are around us. And we really need to understand what those emotions are. Now, if you did not do so, check out the Teacher Lady Speaks episode for this week. Every single week, I have a Teacher Lady Speaks episode. But the point of that episode is that I try to give you more insight and resources and experiences, tips and tricks, and just things that have worked really well for my experience with working with a bunch of children on that topic. And so for Emotional Regulation Week, if you are a guidance counselor, an educator, or even a parent of a child that struggles to manage their emotions, check that out on Friday as a resource. This is a great time to let you know that I am also an author and illustrator, so please check out my books, as well as a program that I started called the Empathy Library, which is designed to get intentional books to children in need that reflect their identity. Okay, so much for you to explore and learn. Thank you for growing with me, for learning with me, and for being part of this book-loving community. Thank you for listening. You see what I did there? The rabbit that listened. You're the rabbit. Anyways, thank you. Until the next time, you remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.